Hi, I'm AnneElbey. Here's my disclaimer. I am not a guru, messenger, teacher, or counselor. I'm passing on messages I have received telepathically or information I have experienced or observed. The title of this segment is Putting Thangs in Perspective. After reading about the release of the Gandiva and its aftermath, I had to do a video. I urge you to read Inanna Returns by V.S. Ferguson. The Queen of Heaven and Earth, Inanna, predicted many things in the book that are currently playing out. Read the book for yourselves because some have read the book, lied about the story within the book, and proceeded to spread Marduk's propaganda and ignore Marduk. How can you ignore Marduk after reading Inanna Returns? He is a supervillain in the story. V.S. Ferguson, the author, told the story from Inanna's perspective. Inanna narrates the story based on what she witnessed and experienced. In Inanna Returns, Marduk is Enki's eldest son. Listen, Marduk is on Earth, running it into the ground and playing us like a fiddle. The sooner you realize it, the better off you will be. If you want to find the secrets, you will have to read it in a book. Inanna, the Queen of Heaven and Earth, told us the secrets. Some are in denial. How can you ignore what's in front of you and pretend these things didn't happen or are currently taking place? The truth is painful, yes, but don't you think it's time to face the truth? Marduk hones negative energies. Marduk promotes fear, guilt, and hate. Guilt is a form of fear, and Marduk used it to his advantage. During the aftermath of the Gandiva, Marduk and his followers demonized the people of the earth who had a mind of their own and thought for themselves. He called them misfits. Furthermore, Marduk popularized psychology to capitalize on the fear energy. Earthlings paid psychologists thousands of dollars to sit in their chairs and listen to their fears and guilt for hours, days, and years. I see a lot of guilt tripping on the Twits timeline. People call it Twitter, now X, but it always will be the twit in my book. Weren't we told not to focus on what we did in the past and only what we are currently doing matters? If so, why are people made to feel guilty about something they did years ago? Most people received tattoos before they got on the spiritual path. So why would you throw it in their face constantly if not to make them feel guilty? If you have a remedy, give it instead of throwing people's past in their face, reminding them of what they did. Once you give them the solution, there's no need to keep reminding them of something they did wrong unless you are feeding off their fears by making them feel guilty about what they did in the past. According to Inanna, the Queen of Heaven and Earth, Marduk found various ways to generate fear if he ran out of options. He created famine, earthquakes, and hurricanes. Some events will play out in nature, and others will appear as holograms on your tail-light vision. All natural disasters and negative predictions are fear-mongering Marduk uses for his fear energy. It makes me think of someone who's always threatening to send a tornado or a hurricane in the direction of others who had a different point of view than Marduk's. Even Anu, I'm sorry. Every Anu and full moon, Marduk accuses imaginary people of hating him as a way of feeding off the negative energy. Why would anyone want to promote hate in such a manner unless the individual is willing negativity in existence? If you disagree with Marduk, he calls you a hater because you are not entitled to your opinion. In the past, he called the people of Earth misfits if they thought for themselves. People are afraid to voice their opinions because they fear Marduk. I'm doing this video because I do not fear Marduk, despite the despicable things he has done and is still doing. Psychological warfare and the womb. Marduk has flipped the script and turned everything upside down. He started the wars on Nibiru and Earth, put the women down, and turned around and said the women fell. No, Marduk fell, and he's the diva he keeps mentioning. After he took over Nibiru and Earth, he degraded the women. He slandered Ainana, the queen of heaven and earth, and her priestesses. Marduk said Ainana was an evil witch who devoured men and turned innocent women into whores. He coveted Ainana's temples and the priestesses who owned lands. Furthermore, Marduk slandered all of Ainana's priestesses who owned businesses in the arts, accusing them of using land. Additionally, Marduk blamed the priestesses for everything that went wrong on earth. The next move Marduk made was to imprison the priestesses, where they got beaten, tortured, raped, and burnt alive. Marduk proceeded to confiscate all of the priestesses' properties to act out his revenge on Ainana for burying him alive in the Pyramid of Giza. He likes to pit the women against the men to make one side look superior. During the aftermath of the Gandiva, Marduk used the men to further his hateration campaign against the women. Marduk told the men they were superior to the women, male chauvinism. As a result of Marduk's propaganda campaign, the women lost respect for themselves. The men also lost a part of themselves. Marduk pits the women against the men to get the women angry so that he can feed off the negative energy. All I see is an angry, jealous, and hateful man who has never healed from being locked up in the Pyramid of Giza. As part of Marduk's gender war, he likes to repost this tweet or similar. Let me ask these questions. Who start endless wars? Who degrades the womb, saying men are superior? Who keeps throwing your past deeds in your face? Who kidnaps women and children and tortures them for adrenochrome? Satan is a man who's jealous of the Divine Mother. Marduk further manipulated the womb by controlling their menstrual cycle. He placed an electromagnetic device on the Earth's moon and tied it to the female's ovulation cycle. Before that, the women could turn their cycles on and off when they want to have children. Marduk encouraged the women to have endless children so he could have enough people to generate more fair energy. Tying the womb cycle to the moon prevented them from turning off their cycle at random. Start over. I remembered a particular audio video Marduk did, and that was the very last audio video of his to which I listened. He hurled venom towards the gentleman and his consort, and Marduk said, "You let a woman run you?" He proceeded to degrade the woman and trashed her because of the tattoos she received in the past. Marduk's male chauvinism side came out. He hides it, but it came out in that audio video. His anger and hate were unmatched, and he had no respect for the woman. Marduk wants you to worship him. Worship. Marduk destroyed all of Inanna's temples, replaced her name with his, and rewrote her story. He changed her story, usurped the Divine Mother's seat, and called himself the Divine Mother. That is blasphemy. After Marduk rewrote her story, he claimed to be a creator god. Per Inanna, Marduk secretly created clones on an abandoned planet to help him conquer Earth and Nibiru. He used the fear energy and loosed from the humans to feed his clones per Inanna. Another big lie Marduk told was that man created the womb from his rib and that the womb should serve Marduk. He also told the womb to be fruitful and multiply to get more children for his fear energy. The more children, the merrier. More fear energy for Marduk. Marduk wants us to worship him as the only God. However, Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth, told us not to worship anyone outside of ourselves and look inward. Do not worship anyone outside of yourselves. The Queen of Heaven and Earth said to look inward. In other words, the divine ones are within us. They're not outside of us, but they're inside of us. Look inward. Furthermore, Marduk wanted total control. So he demanded Anu turn Nibiru over to Marduk or he would destroy Nibiru. Anu took his consort Antu and escaped to a neighboring star system. Marduk went further by creating a negative campaign against Anu to turn the people of Earth against Anu. Here is what Marduk said about Anu, but he spelled the name Annu. Marduk claimed Nibiru is dying, but he started wars and took over Nibiru and Earth. If Nibiru is dying, why did he lay siege to the planet and Earth? Marduk is a power-hungry sociopath. Didn't you find it odd when something went wrong in the community? You know the community. And the culprit got chewed out and humiliated in public. Why not speak to the individual in private? Marduk wanted to feed off the fear energy. That's why. Marduk and his tricks. Don't be fooled by Marduk's tricks. He pretends to love the Divine Mother, but he hates all of Enlil's children and grandchildren. Inanna, Queen of Heaven and Earth, is Enlil's granddaughter, and she was the one who had Marduk locked up in the Pyramid of Giza for the murder of her consort, Demuzu. Marduk has not gotten over being locked up in the Pyramid of Giza and is out for revenge. Marduk wants to destroy the real Inanna by torturing her in the hopes of replacing her with a fake one. He told you his intentions, but you weren't paying attention. He placed other words behind that tweet, but if you read it carefully, you will see that it was a message to the real Inanna. Very slick. Here's the tweet. Those words are from a delusional man who is hiding behind another name and title. He can't even tell you who he is. Marduk also calls himself Amen-Ra, the one who wants to remain hidden. He hides behind another name and title here on Earth so people won't know. He insinuated that he's someone else, but that's a lie. You are dealing with Marduk. He constantly tells you to let it go and move on, but he can't seem to get over something that took place centuries ago. First and foremost, it's not up to Marduk to determine who the Divine Mother is because she was born into that role. So none of the black magic he's currently casting will work on Ainana. Ainana is a grown woman and not a child. Marduk has not gotten over being buried alive in the Pyramid of Giza by Ainana. So he's trying his best to destroy the real Ainana. Plus, Marduk admitted to you that he's the one running Earth. Here's the tweet. According to Ainana, Queen of Heaven and Earth, all the conflicts and confusion with the Anu dynasty manifested into Marduk. He is the collective unconscious of the Anu dynasty projected onto Earth. Per Ainana, we birthed Marduk into this dimension based on our thoughts and actions. Ainana's last words were, if we created Marduk, we could also get rid of him. But how? Here are my 2 cents. Do not partake in Marduk's hate, fear, or guilt. Whenever you see those hateful tweets, ignore them and do not react to them. Take them for what they are, Lucian, and neutralize your thoughts. Ainana gave us the wonderful gift of mastering our thoughts. So let's take her advice and keep love in our hearts. I had to tell the truth based on my observations and experiences. Does that make me a hater? Not. I posted 2 links in the description box. I narrated them from the Ainana Returns book. Buy the book and read it for yourself. The Queen of Heaven and Earth narrated the book, and I have pointed out evidence of what's currently taking place. Thank you for listening, and this is AnneElbey.